And so now we're going to debate about game-winning shots. What is the greatest game-winning shot in NBA history? So Noah and I are going to debate. I'll let you start.
All right.
So what do you got?
So I'm trying to avoid shots that I deem to be like lucky or just something that's totally random. Because then I could go with a 60-foot shot from half court, or a shot that bounced off the rim 7 times, something like that. I'm gonna go with a shot that I think was based on the guy's actual skill level.
Okay.
And that's Damian Lillard in 2019 when he hit that shot over Paul George to win the first round series at the buzzer. That shot was for 50 points. It was from 37 feet. And it was a step-back three-pointer to the right, which for a right-handed shooter, dominant with his right hand like Dame is, that's a much tougher shot. You see guys, typically they step back left because it's a lot easier to do that, and that's a shot that I would prefer if I was playing. The right-sided step-back is much, much harder, and he drilled it over one of the best defenders in the league to win a playoff series. His second, by the way, playoff winning series buzzer beater, something that nobody else, I believe, has ever done.
Yeah.
So that, to me, all-time skill, all-time shot making, and so perfectly Dame. Such a clutch player, one of the greatest in league history doing stuff like that.
Certainly fair. If I had to pick one from Dame, I like the first one better. I just feel like the moment's so much more iconic.
All right.
They
won against Houston.
They won against Houston. Yeah, that one's great. But I mean, come on, Noah. As much as I respect you, there's only one right answer to this question, and that is it may be a little lucky, but also has meaning behind it, and that is Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, come on, that's so lucky.
No, Kawhi Leonard in Game 7. In Game 7 in the second round against the Philadelphia 76ers. I get it hit the rim a couple times. But
it was like 7 times.
But hey, he got a great shot, and he got it over Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Two basically 7-foot monsters at that point. And also, the meaning behind the shot.
At that point is the key part when you said Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I said at that point. You can't say it wasn't. All right. Anyway, he hit that crazy shot. And what did it lead to? What did Dame's shot lead to? You know what happened after he hit that shot? They got swept by Golden State and they went home. Kawhi Leonard hit that shot and he went on to defeat Giannis, and then he at one point looked like he was ending the Golden State Warriors dynasty, and he brought Toronto their one and only championship. So what it led to also, and it's the most iconic moment, a part of that championship run, and I think it's just truly one of the best moments maybe in NBA history.
Sure, did it lead to a title? Yes, but what was the biggest thing that led to the Raptors winning that title? Is Kevin Durant tearing his Achilles and hurting himself already with the injury before that he had to his calf. That's to me
fair.
Is probably the bigger deal, to be honest. With Dame, remember, I understand they got swept. He had never won more than one playoff series in any season. He ended up winning against Denver the next round. They go to a conference finals. They play a Warriors team they had no business being on the same court as, frankly.
No, that was bad. Kevin Durant missed that whole series.
But that was that was the 73-win Warriors then. And they got
No,
swept.
it wasn't. They didn't have any depth on that team. They had guys, they were playing lineups with Steph, Quinn Cook, and Sean Livingston.
Sean Livingston was on the 73-win team. He was one of the key
guys.
But
he was like falling out of the rotation at that point.
That Warriors team without Durant was still very good.
And Boogie Cousins still had the injury. That Warriors team was very light in depth once Kevin Durant went down.
And the Blazers still had no business being on the court then, but they still got there, and that was very impressive. And his shot didn't bounce off the rim 5 times. It was one of the most insane shots because of how difficult it was from almost 40 feet from the basket to score 50. And here's the other thing, too. That Oklahoma City team was favored against them in that series, and not only did that shot end their season, it ended the Thunder as we knew it, because Paul George was then traded to the Clippers, Russell Westbrook was then gone, he went to Houston, and the Thunder's run of 10 years basically that started with Russ and KD being drafted and then all the way through. Right, Russ had been there for so long, and that was the end of it. He ended Russell Westbrook's tenure and that entire legacy in his era in Oklahoma City. That's a big part of it too. They were not supposed to win that series, and yet they won it on an insane shot like that. And it wasn't lucky.
I don't know. Can I say that a 40-foot shot isn't? There's part of luck.
Well, no, because he's the second greatest distance shooter in history.
Yes, I know. He's one of the best distance shooters in history. I think he was shooting 40% back there, actually, that season. So certainly impressive. But again, how much he shoots a lot of them, but how much does he actually like? I can believe like Kawhi Leonard. He practices that shot that he took daily. That's like it was a mid-ranger,
and Dame
close to the
does it?
three-point shot.
Come on.
You think in practice he's shooting 50, 40-foot three-pointers?
Yeah, I bet him and Steph and those guys are absolutely shooting those shots. I don't.
All right,
do you think Kawhi is taking
maybe more so
1
now.
second to shoot a shot? That basically almost hit the rafters over 2 7-footers. I doubt it. I don't think he's
I
practicing
don't know.
that
Again,
shot.
they're both great shots, and who's to say? And also, a part of me also feels like I've said this before. If Philly wins that series, I think they win the championship that year. He also sent Jimmy Butler to Miami, and that was
That's true. He did
that
that.
was sort of the end of Ben Simmons. You could argue that shot took Ben Simmons' soul, and he really hasn't been the same
the
player
next year
since.
was even worse,
So
but sure.
he set Ben Simmons into being a bench warmer, and he sent Joel Embiid into tears. Joel Embiid left the court crying. He set Brett Brown. He got Brett Brown fired after that game, or was it? I believe so.
Yeah, he did.
So,
yeah,
a lot of stuff happened with that. So these two shots are both iconic, and they're both
from the same year.
Same year, yeah. So they both played their part in NBA history. So comment below whose buzzer beater do you think was more iconic, and if you guys have a different game-winning shot that you think was better, please leave it down below. And
I only
let us
went
know.
with ones that I had seen personally. I wasn't going back to the 70s and 80s and everything, but of shots that I've seen, Dame's was number one. So.
Yeah, certainly fair.